Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very rare sort of aesthetic movement era Oxford University poetry magazine. I think this is its original form. It is, as you see, fairly sort of delicate. There's a sort of blank front cover. It may have had an outer wrapping, which is now missing. I can't guarantee that, but basically the magazine is complete, 30 pages of it, published on this sort of quality milled paper, which has now become a little fragile. And the magazine is called Waifs and Strays, a terminal magazine of Oxford poetry. November 1880, volume 2, number 5. It's a known, important, brief Oxford University review. It was published by Rennell Rodd, later British ambassador in Rome, but then a rather decadent, or aesthetically minded young man, friend of Oscar Wilde, who later sort of denied Oscar Wilde in his time of trouble. And this magazine has Wilde links. In an earlier edition of this, Wilde published a number of his poems, and the poems are all anonymous in this edition. There isn't, I think, a Wilde one in this one, unless it's anonymous. Some of the initials are R for Rennell Rodd himself, like that one there. Some poems in Latin there, JWM. I'm sure you could find out who all the writers were. We have poems with Greek titles, but in English. After Heine, that's a Rennell Rodd one. Love's Testimony by E.T.C. The Sea Maiden. Love Unreturned. Again, it's all this very sort of early sort of aesthetic movement type writing. It's an extremely rare magazine. There are no copies of this edition for sale on the 140 million volume A book site. There's one copy of an earlier edition for sale, which is the one I think that Oscar Wilde submitted a poem for, and that's priced at £203. That's the only copy I can find for sale anywhere on the internet of this short-lived 1880 ephemeral Oxford University poetry magazine published by Oscar Wilde's protege and friend Rennell Rodd, who later rather abandoned him in his time of need. There we are, 30 pages of Oxford University poetry from 1880, Waifs and Strays, a typical sort of aesthetic movement era title. Thank you very much indeed. Bye.